Hello! Welcome in, folks. Good to see you all. Happy Thursday. Hope you're all having a good one. My name is Pixlriffs. Welcome to your Thursday Minecraft live stream. Before we start, I need to turn my camera on, because I've forgotten to do that again. Professional streamer. Should probably also turn my key light on, because it's quite, like, it's been light, it's been sunny, it's been warm. But the lighting in here still has to be somewhat balanced. There we go. I'm here. Hello. Before we start, I've got show and tell for you all. For those of you who don't follow me on Twitter or Instagram, which you should be doing, at Pixlriffs on both, I have... I got a belated Christmas present from my sister and my brother-in-law, Rob. And I want to show you because it's hilarious. First of all, Small Cats, thank you for the 12 months of support, the full year of support in the channel. Enjoy your nerd sub badge. Welcome to the Nerd Herd. Everyone has already spammed nerd in the chat, but hopefully you appreciated that. And Mistress Fairy, thank you for the 19 months. So it was Christmas in July, because I didn't get to see my family this Christmas. So, yeah, they came to visit. They were in the area. They were camping, and they said, you know, we can drop in. We had dinner, played board games. It was great. But they brought me... First of all, they brought me another teapot, which was amazing because I needed a medium-sized teapot. The teapot I have is either small or very big. So I have medium-sized teapot now, which is great. There was also a thematic Pixlriffs branded crocheted tea cozy for it, which was adorable and very, very good. And little coasters as well. But also, bit of backstory for this. When I was a young man, and I mean, I still am 35 years old, but when I was a young man, and I still do, I loved Branston pickle, which for those of you who aren't from the UK and don't know what this is, it's basically like a sweet pickle relish. There's just tons of vegetables and like molasses and vinegar and stuff, all kind of just like pickled in this jar, and it's just spreadable. You spread it on sandwiches, savory stuff. And yeah, this is Branston pickle has been around for 100 years. The front of the jar literally says since 1922, right? So it's a long established brand, and I guess they had personalized jars available from their website, and so they got me this, which I will try and focus on with the camera. So bear with me while I do this. And if my camera isn't flipped, it's a little bit more obvious what that says. Hang on. There you go. I'm Pixlriffs! So yeah, that was that was one of my Christmas presents. Pretty funny. Well done them. And who knew that you could get pickle jars that were personalized. That was pretty great. Anyway, where am I? Where's my focal plane? There I am. All right. So that was that. That's a permanent part of my stream background now. It's going to be up here. It's going to be on top of my copy of the Minecraft board game. So that's what the little yellow smudge that you can see right there. It's a jar of pickle with Pixlriffs written on it. Very good. They are very clever and funny. Am I going to open it? Yes, because we checked the best before date is like August next year, but it's already been like sitting in their cupboard for 6 months when they got it. So I'll probably eat the contents, spread them on sandwiches like I normally do, and then I'm going to wash out the jar, obviously very carefully so the label doesn't peel or anything, and I'm going to maybe like fill it with LED lights or something and have it as like a lighting thing. I think that'd be kind of fun. If nothing else, we could put it on like the table at Christmas or something, and it can be full of like fairy lights. That'd be really funny. But yeah, like having some kind of like permanent lighting fixture there would be very good, because it just needs to be done. Am I fixing the bridge found in the stream? No, why? It doesn't need fixing. No, I'm going to be farming netherite. Or, I say farming, I'm going to be looking for netherite. Is there anyone IRL who doesn't know I'm Pixlriffs? I mean, a lot of people have probably never heard of me. Are there any people in my family who don't know I do YouTube for a living? I don't think so at this point. I haven't, like, seen some of my family for a little while, but I'm pretty sure they all knew what I was doing last time I was doing it. The Queen doesn't know, and good, frankly. Let's play some Minecraft. I'm already on Empires. A couple of other folks are online. Catherine and Sausage are both online. False left a little while ago. I decided I need a bunch of lodestones for various things. I'm also wearing my other skin, which is just wrong. So let me fix that real fast We're going to have to load Minecraft up again after I've done this. But yeah, I recorded a survival guide episode. It's going to be out tomorrow, all about 119.1 allay duplication, and I take a bunch of allays to strip mine. So that's kind of fun. But yeah, I decided I would probably be in my usual skin for that one. Luckily, the Minecraft launcher makes it really easy to switch skins now. You don't have to go to the website and stuff. So I only just started using that feature with this season of Empires, and it's been very, very useful. Today's your birthday, Bright Feather. Happy birthday to you. Hope you're having a good one. Yes, 119.1 is out. Yeah. For those of you who want to update, I understand some of you may not, and that's entirely up to you. But yeah, 119.1 is out as of yesterday, I believe. And there may still be some issues with chat report. With chat reporting, I know a lot of people are finding exploits with it, and those will hopefully be patched in future updates. I expect we'll get a 119.2 at some stage, and they'll just continue to work on it from there, much the same they do any other feature. But, you know. How's the Ancient City makeover going? Slow progress, but I was obviously distracted by other more technical tasks and the Skulk farm and whatnot, so there we go. Now I'm looking a bit more like myself, as myself is on this server, so don't think you have to reload Minecraft, just join multiplayer again and the skin changes. Yeah, I think it does work that way, but I'm never entirely certain. Once you start like a session. Will client-side 119 mods work, or do I have to update them? That sounds like a pain. Yeah, most people are probably going to stay on 119 for mods, and the thing is, I don't know if mod creators who disagree with Mojang's chat reporting feature are going to be updating their mods a lot of the time, which is probably the one thing that's going to cause a bit of a fracture within the community, is going to be people who just decide, I'm not updating my mods on principle, which is my main concern right now with chat reporting. Have a server with your friends that automatically updated to 119.1. Your castle build has to wait until like Matica releases. Yeah, I think that's the problem with like stuff like Realms, for example, like automatically updates, I believe. And so there's some stuff which is kind of unavoidable, really. Any spoilers today? I mean, not especially, no. I have some stuff I'm working on that I can't tell you about until it's been in other people's videos, so that's the only stuff I've really like done. Yeah, Mr. Lightning, the chat filter on Bedrock is a different thing, and that's imposed by the console platforms. Like, for it to be on Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, that kind of stuff, they have to have stuff like that implemented in it. Java is different. In Java, they're not, like, filtering chat. They're only implementing a reporting feature. It's just, like, player-generated reports. It's not monitoring what you say in Java Edition. I need a lot of stuff. I don't have an ender chest with me. I don't have any fireworks. I don't have a boat to travel down this path. I'm very ill prepared for this, it turns out. I thought I was just going to get straight into the netherite mining, but apparently I'm not prepared at all. Why do I not have ender chests, though? Where did I guess I probably put one down in my branch mine last time. Let's at least get some of this out of the way. So I have so much cobble and stuff now, thankfully. I needed it. Ton of diorite, which will probably actually combine with the cobble and turn it into andesite instead, because I need that. Whereas I don't really need the diorite all that much. Although this is going to get me like twice the amount, isn't it? Oh. Come back here, you. Now, where have I been storing any of this? That's the other problem with this setup. Let's grab some chests. Do I have chests? I have chests. Okay, good. We'll put those back in there. Let's take these banners down. And we'll put the andesite in here for the minute. There we go. I basically need to make a new storage room. I think that's probably what my next Empires episode is going to be, is like an actual storage place. So that I'm not just living in this hole in the wall forever. Much as I like it, it has gotten quite homey at this point. put spare diorite in here. It looks like calcite anyway. No one will know. We'll put this one in here with the mob heads. Smarty Helen, thank you for the 8 months. Very glad to be able to support you directly. Thanks for all your work. Looking forward to the Deep Slate Emerald Fountain. Yes, I am looking forward to owning any Deep Slate Emerald. We'll see when that happens. Hopefully sooner or later. Hole in the Wall 2.0, yes. Yes, I mostly just want to have, like, a good idea for a build around a storage system, you know? I have a bit of andesite in here as well. We'll remember that for later. No, we won't. I'll forget. Lots of spare stone. This is good. I need so much stone. When you see how much stuff I've been building, you will understand why I need so much stone. Got a buttload of calcite as well, which is nice. Hands up in the chat if you didn't know you could craft andesite from diorite. Because for those of you who dislike diorite, I may have just made your day. We have cobblestone, granite, gravel. Only a little bit more diorite in there. So that works out. How though? In a 2x2 crafting interface. You literally craft diorite and cobblestone together, and it makes andesite. You're welcome. Think I'm the only one in the universe that doesn't hate diorite? No, there's loads of people like diorite, really. It's just a building block. It's just everybody who watches Iskall decides they don't like it arbitrarily. Or sometimes people just don't like it, but I blame Iskall for most of it. I like diorite but dislike granite. I disliked granite until the texture update in 1.14, and then I was fine with it after that. I think it looks quite good now. I think the paths in Pixandria really turned me around on granite as well, because granite was such an integral part of the build palette there. Kept a lot of the warmth in the environment. But yeah, all three of the decorative stone types have a place in the build palette, in my opinion. I think they're all decent. Where have I taken all these boats? I guess I was farming charged creepers with them. That might have been it. Right, we have bed, we have compass. The compass can go wherever I put the lodestone a second ago. It's in here, so I can remember where those are together. Let's not bring a bed with us because we are going netherite mining. I'm not doing the bed method. I hate the bed method. And I guess we'll bring a regular boat rather than a chest boat. Just so I'm not tempted to put stuff in it and then it gets destroyed by a ghast or something and then I lose it. And by it, I mean my mind. There we go. Finally, I can stop looking in chests, because I think I have everything I need now. Although, let's bring sticks just in case. Some say diorite looks like bird poop. I think it looks like cookies and cream ice cream. I think it looks like when snow has piled up by the side of a road and has melted and thawed and refrozen, and it's kind of just slushy and dirty and gross from people walking in it. That's what diorite looks like to me. I've used it that way in my ski resort build in Survival Guide Season 1. I think it works pretty well that way. I've tried flying down this tunnel, by the way, and I'm pretty certain that going in a boat is faster. So over here somewhere, I forget exactly where, but I think it's down here. I started a little netherite mine. It wasn't there. Because I think I brought fire resistance potions. There it is. I don't have fire resistance potions on me this time. But it'll be fine, right? Delta Avenue, thank you so much for the 7 months. Back watching after a while. Hey, well, thank you. Welcome back. Always happy to see returning chatters. So there are some that just end up like that very quickly, so I'm going to ignore those and keep going. We're going to be digging along chunk borders. We're not going to be using explosives today because I prefer to mine with TNT, but I don't have any TNT. And I don't think Jimmy's gunpowder shop has much in the way of stock this week. But in the meantime, we're just going to be digging along chunk borders, and we'll probably come back with explosives later and give these the treatment, and then hopefully at that stage we'll be able to find a little bit more netherite. But in the meantime, I would like netherite for things. I have purposes. And I honestly wouldn't mind stuff like quartz, blackstone, that kind of stuff when we can find them. So we're going to be digging until we reach fire, until we find lava. And then we're going to be turning ourselves around. We in the survival guide world today? No, this is Empires. This is still Empires. It says so in the title if you're curious. Give Joel the quartz? No. Need quartz for myself. Back off, Joel. Stealing my calcite. Why along chunk borders? Because there is a possibility of a vein generating per chunk, basically. Like, it chooses where to spawn netherite when the world generates based on chunks. So like there are 3 opportunities for a vein of netherite to spawn per chunk. So if you mine along chunk borders, you might get a generation on one side, you might get a generation on the other side, is the theory. In practice, I don't know how much more likely it is to encounter netherite this way, because the veins could very easily be in the middle of each chunk and then you've missed both of them. But, you know, it's just common practice at this point. Looks like we found a basalt delta. So I probably won't go much further than this, because I really don't like mining through basalt. But you can still get ancient debris in basalt deltas, so there is a chance that it will be down here. I don't see it happening, though. The devs love it when people are divided on certain tactics like bed mining. Yeah, I mean, it means that the game is catering to different playstyles, and the meta changing like that is definitely interesting. It's what makes a game diverse and fun. Was Netherite Beacon really 2 years ago? Yeah, I think so at this point. The whole reason for silk touching the quartz is that I don't want to craft it into blocks afterwards, so it's going to take up less space in my inventory if I do this. I basically want raw quartz for stuff like redstone comparators. That whole business. Doesn't feel like 2 years. I mean, it does and it doesn't, because obviously the last couple of years has also felt like a decade. because we've not been able to go anywhere or do anything. But it also feels weird that it was 2 years ago. Happy Crafter, thank you for the 26 months. Am I thinking of making a video on No Man's Sky again? No, probably not. I believe I did have an offer a while back to do a promoted video on No Man's Sky, like an ad video. And I'm just so focused on Minecraft right now, and I can't really see it going over well with my audience. Not that my audience, like, explicitly dislikes No Man's Sky, but I just don't think they're that interested because Minecraft exists. How long ago did I start streaming on Twitch? It's got to be like 4 years or something. Like, it was a while ago. It's nearly 5, actually, yeah, because there's definitely some people... I didn't get made affiliate right away, but it didn't take especially long, and there are some people now who are close to a 5-year resub. So I'm pretty sure 5 years is coming up in, like, a few months' time. Maybe January, February kind of time. Danny, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. Very much appreciated. Thank you, thank you. So must patch up every hole that's left from quartz or gravel. Mostly just because I know I'm going to come back through and explode all of this stuff later, and I don't need the netherrack. So much netherrack. And it just helps using up some of it occasionally. There's some. There's our first vein. Very nice. Is that just the one, or do we get cheeky diagonals? Nope, looks like just one. Okay, cool. What do I think about playing Minecraft with a minimap mod? It's not going to be something I want to do, but I have no problem with anyone else doing it. Joel does that. I believe he uses Zero's minimap when he plays on the Citadel. Joel Duggan, not Joel Smallish Beans. Oh, Joey does it as well? Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a few people who benefit from that kind of stuff. And personally, I'm fine with it. But it's more fun for me to explore the world in an immersive way without it feeling too obviously video gamey, I guess. Which is weird, because obviously it's a video game, but... it helps with immersion if I don't have too many HUD elements. I think Minecraft has done a good job of staying fairly minimalist with that stuff. Have I ever played Beat Saber? No. I've only ever played one VR game. We played Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes at my brother-in-law's house, but I don't really know that many people who have VR headsets, and I have no interest in really getting one myself. But I've heard good things about Beat Saber. I've heard a lot of people use it for, like, a workout. Have I played Minecraft in VR? No, I just said I've only played one thing in VR, and it was Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes. Minecraft in VR would be a really interesting experience, but I don't think I'd want to play that way regularly. Viminator, thank you so much for gifting that sub. Lavender Mama, thank you so much for the 16. Loving the time lapses and empires, also loving the builds this season. Thank you very much. Putting a lot of effort into the building this season. Hopefully that pays off. Fidget with the 6 months. Thank you for the 6 months. Shadow's Edge, thank you for the 100 bits as well. We got a hype train rolling. If anyone's interested in getting yourself some exclusive Twitch emotes, you can do that by cheering some bits, gifting some subs, subscribing if you're not subscribed already, or resub if you are already. Anything in particular I'm really looking forward to this season of Empires? Well, once I'm able to get these, like, secret builds that I'm doing in front of people, whether it's the audience or the players, I'm just very excited to see where things go from there. Because effectively I'm building stuff that's going to be part of other people's stories. And some of it is going to be requests, and some of it is just going to be stuff that I think would work really well for them, and they're just going to encounter. And then some of it's going to be just like hidden stuff that people will stumble across while they're exploring the world. There's definitely going to be some stuff that I tell people about, but don't tell them where it is, and there's going to be some stuff that is in a place that I think more people will go through, but I'm not going to tell people that it's there, if that makes sense. Oh my goodness. Alright, Skull86, thank you for the 9 months of Prime, the Twitch baby, appreciate that very much. Teeny Bit with a gifted sub, and California Moon gifting 5. Taking us over the line for that Tier 1 hype train, rolling on to Tier 2. Thank you so much for all the generosity, folks. Make sure you thank these very generous sub gifters if you are the recipient of a gifted sub. It gets you access to the channel emotes, ad-free viewing for the next 30 days, and a little sub badge, which you can continue if you want to, but no pressure. And if you're feeling generous and want to pay it forward, that's always very much appreciated too. MC Leslie, thank you for the 100 bits. Fulmers with the 15 months of Prime, thank you very, very much. Dogman Jack gifting 2 subs. And Dr. Trog with a Tier 1 sub. Dr. Trog, the creator of the best, dare I say it's the best skyblock map on all of Planet Minecraft. Go and download that if you want the premier skyblock experience updated to 1.19. Thank you very much for the gift sub. Hope you're well. Oh, I'm kind of running out of food here.
Well, that's just
Dr. Becquerel. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Or Becquerel, potentially. Back-to-back doctors subbing to the channel. Appreciate the doctors. Shout out to the doctors out there. The medical professions love me. Whoa, hello. That genuinely took me by surprise there. I was not expecting a skeleton. But to be fair, after the doctors turned up, skeletons were not going to be far behind. Teeny Bit, thank you for gifting another sub. Pocket Pengui, thank you for gifting those 2 subs. The medical professions love me is one of the weirdest things I've ever said, but it's basically the opposite of the internet thing of doctors hate her. Just going to find the next set of chunk borders. There we go.
well, that's just prime.
Yeah, Dr. Bones suddenly in the house. Paging Dr. Bones. Maybe they're doctors in mathematics or something. Honestly, the skeletons are probably doctors in mathematics, considering how incredible their ballistics capabilities are. The fact that they can snipe you perfectly from very, very far away. Yeah, Dr. Bones is Bones McCoy from Star Trek. Yes, exactly. What do the borders matter in terms of debris? So I explained this a little bit earlier, but I'll explain it again briefly for the folks who've just joined us. If you're mining for ancient debris veins have a chance to generate 3 per chunk. Usually there is a chance of 2 of them generating below lava lake level and a 3rd bonus one basically anywhere in the full height of a nether chunk. And so if you mine along a chunk border, there is a small chance that you might find ancient debris on one side of the chunk and then another vein of ancient debris on the other side of the chunk. Basically, like this chunk over here has a chance to generate a vein of debris, even though there is one right here. Normally, the game tries to space them out a little bit, but over chunk borders, basically that chance resets. So if you're looking for ancient debris, people typically try mining along chunk borders just on the off chance that they encounter a larger vein of ancient debris stuck together. Because otherwise, it's a bit of a pain to find, right? And while, obviously, that's not a guarantee of any kind, because, you know, you could very easily just find something in the middle of a chunk that you're never going to find if you dig along the edges. is still potentially a good strategy for doing this. And later on, I'm going to come back along these lines. I'm going to use TNT. We're going to blow up a much larger area here, and I should hopefully be able to find some ancient debris that way. Whereas now we have 5, which is good. That's another netherite ingot. I can craft another lodestone with that, or upgrade my equipment, or whatever I want to do. What do the channel points mean where it says nether, overworld, etc.? Redeem one and find out. Tachi Gamer, thank you for the 27 months. Liara with the 47 and Queen with the 25. 20 seconds left to save the hype train. If you want to get that tier 2 hype train over to tier 3. No pressure. That looks like a lava pocket to me. Hype train success. Thank you all so much for the support. As ever. I think we're probably done with this tunnel. If I get to a lava pocket that I can't break through and then fill in, then I'm pretty much done with that one. Eliania, thank you so much for the 8 months. Viaminator with the 100 bits. The last minute hype train bits coming through. Thank you very, very much. Notably Deceased, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Any updates on my recent prank? Do you mean the one at the end of the Great Bridge episode? Because that has been found. Well, I say found. It's kind of been found. It has happened. People have not investigated much further. But people are aware of it. What does my texture pack do? I mean, the resource packs we use on Empires are mostly so that everybody's series looks kind of similar. We're all using the same foliage resource pack that FWIP provided. We also have a reduced enchantment glow because people are using custom textures for things like elytra and tools and armor a bit later in the series, once the artist is done with those. So really it's just there to make sure that the art can speak for itself and that it isn't covered by this big purple enchantment glow all the time. Why not use beds? Because I hate the bed method. It sucks. It leaves fire everywhere. It's explosive. If you're not concentrating really hard on it, then you can blow yourself up. I just dislike it, generally. Not the biggest fan. Whereas this I find quite relaxing, and I can go back through here and mine a lot more organized with TNT and fire resistance potions later. But like I said, I don't know if Jimmy's done enough AFKing that he has tons of gunpowder available. I'd also probably need to pay him for it because I don't think we are formally speaking an alliance. Because I'm not formally speaking an empire. But Jimmy hasn't mentioned wanting frog lights or anything yet, so I don't know if he wants to like trade for those or if I should get him something else instead. We'll see. Will there be a nether hub? Probably not, because we tend to think of the overworld as like where most of the action happens on Empires. The nether is for farms, occasional episodes here and there, and just resource gathering. Because the overworld is really where everything's happening. Obviously the end as well, but it's kind of weird to think about how the nether really fits into the fiction of this series. Euphemia Star, thank you so much for the 2 months. Notably Deceased, gifting 5 subs out to the community. Folks in the chat, once again, make sure you thank these very generous sub-gifters for doing what they do. Seems to me like a missed opportunity to leave out a Nether Empire. That's the thing, though. Like, Nether Empires, you wouldn't run into them all that much. Or, like, yeah, you'd travel through the Nether, but most of us tend to cut out most of the Nether stuff anyway. And you'd never run into them the way you do Empires in the Overworld. You know what I mean? Like, if you're building stuff around the areas that we're building stuff, we're going to bump into each other all the time. Whereas if one person's building in the Nether, they're going to have to come back to the overworld all the time for certain resources anyway. And also because living in the Nether actually kind of sucks. Like, I can see why a lot of people don't want to do it. You don't see the sky very often. I feel like if I've been spending a lot of time in the Nether for a while, I just always want to, like, go back to the overworld, and I'm always really happy when I return. Hey, no worries, Danny. I'm glad that I can be of comfort to people. I have a few streamers or YouTube videos that I tend to default to when I'm chilling out for the evening and stuff as well. I'm glad I can be there to calm some people down if that's what they need. Have a Void Empire, what, like out in the end? Yeah, again. Good luck finding that one. The whole thing with the overworld is really set up so that if we're not like absolutely on each other's doorsteps, but people are going to interact more if it's easy to get to other people's bases, right? Yikes. And that's where this tunnel probably ends. Yeah, I don't see anywhere that I can get an angle on that. So that's that one. Can I just compliment you again on awesome music and time-lapse on the bridge video? Well, thank you. I wish I could take credit for the music, but obviously credit to the artists, and I try and give credit in the video and video description where I can. Like an Ocean Empire? Oh, we had an Ocean Empire last season. I'm pretty sure Joey Graceffa is more or less an Ocean Empire. He's a pirate, so it kind of makes sense. He's building on the land because he, you know, has to have a port to go to, but will there ever be a full Empire's War type deal? See, the thing with wars, it's never going to get as epic as people want it to, because unless you're using mods to simulate combat, or we're bringing a ton of extra people onto the server, which is a recipe for disaster in a number of ways, it's never really possible to have a full-scale war the way we think of wars, with, like, armies and stuff like that. We had a couple of pretty major conflicts in Empires Season 1, but, you know, there isn't really a great way of simulating stuff like that in Minecraft without using either other players or mobs as proxies. Like, one way you could do it is if you put together a group of mobs that, like, fought each other. Like, if you took a bunch of Johnny Vindicators and then had them fight, you know, Zoglins or something like that and just see who wins. But, like, all of the mobs which do that are typically, like, kind of evil-themed mobs to begin with, as far as Minecraft's own lore is concerned. Hermitcraft War in Season 6 was well done. Yeah, but even that basically just turned into a glorified game of Capture the Flag. And you can do fun stuff with that if you want to, but it also takes over everybody's series for a really long time. Like the Team Star versus Team Grian in Season 6 of Hermitcraft was just like a big, long, protracted thing, which if you weren't into it, it's like, well, I guess you're just not going to watch Hermitcraft for a while then, because it's happening all the time. Colosseum fight in Season 1 was quite epic. Yeah, I mean, there's probably going to be something like that at some stage, but most of us are just in the situation where we're having fun with it right now. Like, I know the way Fwip's been talking about it the entire time. He's just like, I want to have mischief, I want to have fun. Like, conflicts are naturally going to arise because it'll be funny. And people want to, like, steal resources from each other and do that kind of stuff. But for the most part, like, we want to make sure that it stays fun for all of us. And that we don't end up with somebody who's just going to take a bunch of stick from audiences because they're playing a more evil character, and, you know, we want to make sure that people are being civil in our audience. So it's difficult. It's always really difficult knowing how to pitch that kind of stuff. Comedic conflict tends to work better than wars. Yeah, no, totally. I entirely agree. Alright, well, none of this seems to be a chunk border that I can actually mine along, so might end up going somewhere else at this point. I might take my football and go home, chat. To be fair, I've got 5 debris already, so I can at least take that home and then figure out what I'm going to do from there. Okie doke. Might even use some of this netherrack to complete this tunnel so I'm not having to deal with stuff walking in from the sides all the time. That might be a good idea. Who's the Desert Empire this season? I mean, Jimmy has the Badlands biome, which has a pretty significant desert next to it. It's more the mesa and that like basin that he has than it is the desert, though. The Dessert Empire. The Empire of Cake. Candyland Empire. Avoid Empire exporting air blocks. That's the thing, if air is your resource, then you don't really want to start an argument with that person, do you? I kind of like breathing, thanks. This bit isn't normally too much of a problem. I think occasionally we get skeletons spawning on the ice blocks. This is not the most problematic section. That's the Crimson Forest bit that's coming up. At that point, I think I might turn either some of this black stone into buttons, or I might go and get some wood buttons for the ice blocks. This makes 2 left turns. Sure does. Someone should have done the Land of Milk and Honey and just export that. I'm pretty sure that's gem, isn't it? I mean, maybe not the milk part necessarily, but the honey definitely. So tonight, thank you so much for the 2 months. Can't stay for the stream. Hope I'm doing well. I'm doing pretty well, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, not too bad. Nice efficient way to use ice blocks. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Especially if you're using blue ice, this is probably the best possible use of the space, because you still get the same pace. The boat isn't thin enough to drop between those 2 blocks. And then all you have to do is slab the rest of it to make sure that you don't end up with mobs spawning around the outsides, because they can be a real pain. Let's put 1 blackstone block there. And I do have a bunch of netherrack back at home which I could go and get while we drop off the rest of this, including the debris. So it's the piglins and the hoglins around here that are the big problem. I've even died to one of them once. Do ice boat roads like this necessarily have to be 3 blocks tall in the interior? I think once you're in the boat, it's okay, but once you get out of the boat, you end up suffocating in the ceiling. If it's any lower than that, and any higher than that, and more stuff can spawn, like magma cubes in the basalt deltas and stuff. So that's why I tend to keep the roof relatively low. But yeah, I still have a bunch of this. We can start putting the quartz away in here. We'll put the basalt and the blackstone in there too. And I guess I'll keep the soul sand. Put our debris in there. Very smooth flight. Yeah, I've gotten used to flying in through that door. Okay, the River Cat, thank you so much for the 13 months. Unlucky for some, very lucky for me. Let's grab some wood and let's start putting buttons down. We'll use some of the dark oak that I traded from Mythical Sausage the other day. Although I don't think we'll need more than... Yeah, we'll make a stack of buttons at a time and then just craft it as we need it. See you later, Java Addiction. Have a good one. What are we working on today? I was mining for Netherites. We have a few bits of ancient debris now, but I'm also trying to improve my tunnel access to the basalt delta where I have the froglight farm. We get an advancement hunting episode in this season? Probably, yeah. It's always fun to go and just tick off some of the stuff that you've missed in terms of Minecraft progression, you know? Don't often catch a Pixlriffs stream, but when I do, I have the urge to paint. There's some folks have done, I think it was like a screenshot redraw kind of situation, but they did art of the Great Bridge, and I'm incredibly flattered when people do stuff like that, because all of those builds and stuff are always some of my biggest projects. They're the stuff that I put a lot of hard work and thought into, and it's always great when they are well received. But yeah, I think I saw somebody link me to a like a traced but still artistically done version of the Great Bridge. Is there anyone online besides me? Mythical Sausage and Catherine were online, and False's camera account is logged in. I assume just to like AFK at the iron farm or something. But I think False has been unwell for the last little while, so yeah, I think she's just taking it easy. What's up, Sleepy? Welcome in. Thank you for sharing your pronouns, and lovely to hear some folks coming in from New Zealand. You must be sleepy if you're in New Zealand. It's got to be middle of the night for you. Or maybe it's very early morning. I never know what the New Zealand, like, time zone situation is. But either way, it's got to be pretty dark in the Southern Hemisphere around this time of year, so... How did we come up with the Empire's SMP idea? That was all Fwip. Fwip said, I want to do a series where everybody claims a biome, builds their own empire, and we have wars over different types of exports and stuff. Or it wasn't necessarily wars. Well, wars wasn't like the selling point for the series, but he said, basically, if everyone claims a resource, we get to keep resource farms to a minimum on the server, and then that creates opportunities for collabs because you have to go and trade with somebody to get like a decent supply of iron from an iron farm or something like that. And yeah, he just threw together a bunch of people he'd already played with on other servers, people he was already good friends with. I knew him from Decidedly Vanilla. Obviously a bunch of the others had played with him on X-Life, and knew of him from elsewhere. MCC obviously now as well. Night Wanderer, thank you so much for the 4 months. Who else did I know before joining Empires? Gemini Tay had been on the podcasts. I chatted to Gem a little bit. I knew of pretty much all of the others, but I hadn't always had a chance to interact with them. I'd been on a server with Mythical Sausage and Fwip before. A lot of the others, yeah, were people that I knew of just from talking to other Minecraft YouTubers or browsing Minecraft YouTube in general. How does the war part of the server work? Basically, if somebody wants to start a conflict with somebody else, they do. We improvise most of our interactions in general, so stuff like that just tends to evolve naturally. But, like, once stuff like that starts, if it's actually going to be like a long drawn-out conflict, we're usually talking about it in a Discord behind the scenes. It's not like... We're not like a factions server or a PvP kind of server where there's raiding all the time and that's just normally part of it. Like, it all has to be in service of a good story, you know? Like, if there isn't a good reason to do it and you're just trying to, like, take out your frustrations on somebody in a petty way, then that's still not necessarily how we want to do things. Haven't Pearl and Sausage been on the Spawn Chunks also? Pearl hasn't. We'd love to get Pearl on at some point, but she's obviously very busy, and the time zone situation for her is always going to be awkward, so yeah, we'd love to talk to Pearl at some stage, but it's about finding the right time, really. And we also don't necessarily want to have a podcast that's just like, let's talk to everybody on the Hermitcraft whitelist, you know? We have a couple of fun guests coming up at some stage who are going to be people that you may not necessarily have heard of, but people who have an interesting and unique perspective on Minecraft. That's really what I would like to start doing with the guests on the podcast. How did I get into streaming and playing Minecraft? I started playing Minecraft in 2014. I picked it up on Xbox 360 first, but then started playing on PC in November of that year because my brother-in-law Rob was playing on a multiplayer server called Decidedly Vanilla. It's where I made some of my first SMP content on my YouTube channel. And the streaming stuff happened later once I had a decent enough PC to do it, and streaming, much like YouTube, was one of those things where it was just a matter of me realizing, oh, you don't need lots of complicated equipment to do this. Like, I would have loved to have made video game videos on YouTube back when I started taking an interest in YouTube in like 2009. I knew of YouTube before that, obviously, but it had only been out for a couple of years at that stage. But that's when I started watching YouTube videos regularly. And the whole reason that I didn't immediately get on that train was that I thought you had to be capturing stuff from consoles and having like dedicated capture hardware and stuff, and that was all a lot more complicated and a lot more expensive than it is now, because now people have computers that are technically capable enough that you can play a game and stream it from the same machine and it's not just all gonna break. So yeah, I really started streaming because like I could, and because YouTube was starting to make its first steps into streaming. I didn't really know very much about Twitch at the time, and having streamed on YouTube for a bit and finding the whole experience kind of stressful, and at the time YouTube streaming experience was not the greatest. I switched to Twitch a fair bit later. I found streaming Minecraft quite stressful at the time because I felt like I wasn't like productive enough. I ended up getting kind of scattered. I wasn't really all that used to the process of streaming and what streaming was like energy-wise. And so when I started streaming on Twitch, I streamed a bunch of different games. I played the Final Fantasy series because I've always loved those games, and I felt like it was just a fun way to play those games and chill out. But then when my YouTube channel started taking off, I saw the value in trying to stream Minecraft again, and ultimately once I found my rhythm with it, it was a lot easier. It felt a lot less stressful after that. Was it ever scary making my hobby a job? It could have been, and I fully appreciate how scary it can be making that transition for some people, but in my case, I'd already been doing this long enough that I was making more from YouTube and Twitch streaming than I was from the job I was actually paid to do and that I was contracted to do. And so, yeah, I decided to quit my job in July of 2019 and have been doing this full-time ever since, and I've not regretted a minute. It's been very, very good. But I was in the position where, you know, that was around the time I reached 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. The survival guide was just growing and growing and growing. It seemed sustainable and has been ever since, for which I'm obviously incredibly grateful. What's my experience streaming on Twitch in comparison to YouTube like Whip? Well, back when I used to stream on YouTube, the chat was quite difficult to navigate. There weren't really any great tools for moderators, and YouTube didn't have any of the support integration stuff that Twitch has in terms of like subs and bits and that kind of stuff. Super chat was like barely a thing, but now they have like channel memberships and like a bunch of other ways to make streaming more worthwhile for people who dedicate a lot of time to it. But Twitch just had that kind of stuff built in. More than anything, though, I find that the Twitch community understands live streams better than the YouTube community, because obviously folks on YouTube are used to watching videos, and so back when I used to stream, people were like, I don't understand what this is. Is this live? When's the next video coming out? What are you doing for your videos? And all of the questions just became about the other stuff I was doing on YouTube, instead of people feeling like they were present in the stream at the time. And I feel like people on Twitch just kind of inherently understood what live streams were, because that's what the platform is about. So yeah, I found it a lot easier streaming on Twitch, just because it didn't feel like I was constantly doing a Q&A about my YouTube stuff. And that was really where it went for me. How easy is it to simultaneously stream on both platforms? It's easy as long as you aren't a partner of one or the other, because both Twitch and I think YouTube have it in their contracts that if you have a monetized stream and you're streaming to a larger audience, you basically have to keep your content exclusive to that platform. I don't know about YouTube, actually. I haven't looked at the YouTube terms and conditions for a while. But on Twitch, if you're a partner, you can't stream to another platform simultaneously. Yeah, Joe Hill streams on both and just accepts tips, but he accepts tips directly through PayPal. He doesn't have like a partnered Twitch stream and has resisted doing that because he wants it to be freely available to as many people as possible, which makes sense. That's entirely his deal. But I like Twitch being another revenue stream for me, because if anything happens to YouTube, like that one period a couple of years back when a bunch of YouTube ad revenue tanked because like there was some controversies with certain creators and what ads were being run on certain types of content, and then basically YouTube took a whole year to sort out whether or not creators could get paid for making perfectly ordinary Minecraft videos, it helps to have another potential revenue stream at that point. So that, you know, you don't just lose your income entirely if YouTube decides, hey, we're not sure if we can run ads on this kind of content or not. But yeah, there's tools that let you do stuff like that if you want to stream to multiple platforms. Restream.io is one of them. You basically stream to a third-party service which then splits your stream key into multiple different locations to go, which makes sense. Let's grab some fire resist potions, because I've got some waiting in here, just in case we need those. And yeah, I think we'll probably go looking for another place to start mining for netherite, because I would still like to do more of that. Did Mojang ever try to restrict streaming videos of Minecraft in the early days of YouTube and Twitch? No. I'm pretty sure from the very early stages there was this implicit agreement and then a written agreement that said basically you can do whatever you want with Minecraft content. You can monetize Minecraft content if you want to. Like, all we ask is that you don't clone the game or don't pretend that it's not Minecraft when it is Minecraft or any of that stuff. One of the really big challenges with streaming to multiple servers is monitoring multiple chats. Yeah, and there are some great chat aggregation, like, chat clients as well. So you can have your Twitch chat and your YouTube chat and Twitter or whatever else. Like, there are people who stream via, like, Twitter and the kind of older Periscope-style service still. Like, I follow a couple of them. Man, the skeletons, really rough today. Froglight Farm still going strong. Iron golems do not look like they've been attacked, which is always a plus. Obviously, it would help if I'd made this out of something other than netherrack, but you know what? Netherrack's cheap. I don't have my bundle on me either. I feel like I'm a different person on this server. Let's fly out this way. I think if we carry on in this direction, we get to another patch of basalt delta. I've seen the inside of a ghast before. Now you have. This way. Okay, this leads down to normal nether wastes terrain. That's the basalt delta. So if we go around the outside of this, just check that there isn't a basalt delta immediately in front of us. It looks like there is. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that. Let's go through it. That's a sensible thing to do. Nothing bad ever happened to people who went through a basalt delta like this. And on the other side, maybe down here, maybe at the foot of this nether fortress. Seems like a good landmark. There's absolutely no chance of us getting set on fire. None whatsoever. Y47. Take the coordinates of this just in case I miss that later. And let's see if we hit lava. Of course we do. Some of that looks like it's solid underneath. Love flying at ghasts and taking them out with a sword. I know, it's so satisfying. You feel like you're in some kind of, like, Crouching Tiger style epic. Have I played Pokemon Legends Arceus? I have, yeah. Yeah, I got to the point where I was trying to do all of the completion tasks in the Pokédex. And I think I'd caught most, if not all, of the Pokemon, because I was still, like, evolving some of the newer ones. But then I, effectively gave up on it because Minecraft stuff was happening. Like, 1.18 came out, and I was like, oh, okay, I just have to play Minecraft constantly now. Am I going to mine using TNT or pickaxe? Pickaxe for now. TNT later, but I don't really have good access to TNT right now. Jimmy has a creeper farm, but it's not super productive unless he's online AFKing at it regularly, so for the moment at least, we are without a reliable source of TNT, which might happen later. Alright, we're at Y15, we're just going to mine north for a bit, and we'll see how we get on. Let's up the gamma so you folks can see a bit. Gamma utils mod, very, very useful. Can make a mob farm like in Survival Guide Season 2. The thing about this server is that different people are choosing different resources to trade, and so I can't really go and make a mob farm because that's not super fair to people who've decided that they're going to trade mob drops. Like, because Jimmy is the sheriff and is like a cowboy kind of character and lives out in the Badlands, he's the one who's trading gunpowder. And I can't make a gunpowder farm because that's effectively, like, cutting him out of the gunpowder market if I start selling it to people. And yes, I guess I could make a private gunpowder farm, but I don't really want to do that when I've got so much other stuff going on this server. Like, I have some stuff happening right now that I really need to be on top of, and so I don't have the time, a lot of the time, to make huge amounts of stuff like that. Had trouble finding a working Malilib mod for 1.19.1? No, I haven't really looked for 1.19.1 mods, because it only came out, like, yesterday, so I don't see anybody updating their mods right away. Especially folks who aren't all that keen on the chat reporting stuff. Like, I expect a lot of people are going to be holding back on their mods because there's pressure from the community, or they just don't like the changes Mojang have made recently. But we're still on 1.19 on Empires just because all the mods are here. The Anarchy community is freaking out about the chat reporting system? I expect so, yes. Which is hilarious because, like, anytime behavior gets reported from their servers, it's going to be by a member of the server. Mojang isn't monitoring chat on servers unless people report it, so... It's like, do you have snitches in your community or do you not? And if you have snitches in your community, isn't that just part of the whole Anarchy experience to begin with? So it's all very well being anarchists until somebody calls the cops. But I use fire resistance because I don't need to. I can just fill up the lava pockets that I find, and if I can't fill them up, it's kind of not worth using a fire resistance potion to push through them. I also don't want to use too many of my own fire resistance potions when, again, there's somebody on the server who's made it their business to trade fire resistance potions and other types of potion. Because that's Shelby's character. She's like a witch. She brews potions in a swamp. How much netherite's been found so far? I found 5 pieces earlier. This is the 6th one. And I found 4 pieces of debris previously that I've already turned into a netherite ingot for a lodestone. So I guess we're up to 10 overall on the server now. Why do I think Mojang keeps breaking AFK fish treasure farms? Probably because they don't want getting hold of mending books to be something people can do AFK. Like, the rewards are too great compared to the effort put in. I do think the sculk sensor design made sense because you do have to go to a decent amount of effort to get sculk sensors in the first place. But, yeah, I guess they just don't want people to be able to fish for stuff that way except manually. Is there a goal number of debris for today? No, not really. I'm just kind of chilling. I have some stuff I want to do on Empires that I can't do on streams, but I still want to be able to stream, so I'm like, what can I do right now that's going to be productive for future stuff? And mining for debris is one of those things. Who has corner on the wool market? I believe Catherine is trading wool. Because her whole thing is like being a tailor, I think. So she's got like wool and string and stuff like that. I've had a triple spider farm since basically episode 1. So I don't need string all that much, but I'm sure I'll find places where I could use the wool. Technically Shelby isn't allowed to make potions anymore. Yeah, but she's going to. No debris counter? No, nothing like that. I think debris counter would only really be satisfying if we were getting more than a handful if we were mining with TNT. I think it's amazing she managed to break the server. It was, yeah, it was a panicked couple of hours. We were like, hang on, what's happened? Because that was like basically right as I had finished building the Great Bridge. Or like a substantial portion of the Great Bridge was done. And then we had this moment of like, are we going to have to roll back the server because this brewing stand malfunctioned? Because that would have been awful for me. Like, yeah, I had a lot of fun building the bridge. I don't really feel like wanting to build it again, you know? I would like to build things once and then be done with them. We got just the one debris from that vein as well. Shocked it was Shelby that broke the server and not Jimmy or Catherine. Well, to be fair, like, it was a bizarre issue with a brewing stand. So it could have been any of us if we were brewing potions, you know? What's my preferred method for debris mining? I typically prefer to do this with TNT. But since I'm not in my own world and I'm not in control of whether or not there is gunpowder being farmed, I'm not really able to get a whole bunch of TNT right now. You're on level 15? Yeah, why 15? Yeah. See? What about bed mining? I don't like it. It leaves fire everywhere. We don't have fire spread switched off on the server, so fire is really inconvenient to deal with. And just the whole explosion mechanic, it just feels incredibly volatile. You end up taking a bunch of damage to your armor. I don't have the best armor yet. I don't have mending on my leggings, you know, that kind of stuff. It takes a lot of concentration mining for it that way. And I feel like this way I can just relax and talk to chat and everything can be a bit more chill. And with TNT, you can set it off remotely with a flame bow, and there's a chain reaction, and it feels a lot more comfortable that way for me. My favorite song? I don't know if I can narrow it down to just one. I like a lot of music, and it varies a great deal. No worries, Roadbuster. Have yourself a good day. Better quality of life improvement, Swift Sneak or bundles? Definitely bundles. Swift Sneak is circumstantially useful. I find bundles incredibly useful. But I know I'm kind of in the minority there. And a lot of people aren't really that jazzed about Swift Sneak either. I think it's good, but it's not for everyone. Like, I heard Fwip saying that he's not really a big fan of it. He's like, it's too slidey. It helps in Ancient City contexts, but for building in general, he's not the biggest fan, I think. Is False on the server still? Not currently, but she is just, like, in general, yes. She's still a member of the server, if that's what you're asking. Yeah, that's not going to work out for me, is it? Can we go around? Not especially reliably. Let's just call that one off and go to the next one. Ah, no, let's not. Let's not do that. Alright, this one's a wash. We did get 4 debris, though, so that's worth having. Ever used free cam? Not really. Like, very, very occasionally I've used it on this, but only to, like, double check something that I'm pretty confident about. Running into my usual luck when debris mining? Yeah, I mean, this is everybody's usual luck when debris mining. It's a difficult thing. It's a pain in the butt to do. But it's meant to be, so that's kind of okay, you know? And there is a massive lava lake here, which probably doesn't help. I mean, there's a massive lava lake everywhere. It's the Nether, but you know what I mean. Let's try here. The magma blocks are usually a sign that there is lava immediately adjacent, so let's do this. Oh, let's not remove the HUD. Just fumbling my F number keys now. Yep, there it is. Can we not, though? It's actually relatively rare that you can dig down through a landmass like this without encountering lava. A lot of the nether seems to just generate on landscapes that have like a little bit of lava underneath. Slimehouse Gaming, if I missed that earlier, thank you so much for the 14 months. But yeah, on Bedrock Edition, there are caves below Y32 which are not completely flooded with lava. But on Java Edition, anything that generates a cave-like structure below Y32 in the nether is basically going to be a lava lake. You have no choice in the matter. It's a nice cheeky bit of debris there, though. I'm not lucky with ancient debris, I'm average with ancient debris. I know where to start looking for it, and then everything else is just going to be luck. I'm lucky and I'm systematic. That's basically where it goes. Strategic, yeah. I think the other important thing about mining for this stuff is knowing when to quit. Like, knowing when it's just too much effort to try and go through bits of lava or whatever. Not using TNT, Kyla, because I don't have a whole lot of access to it right now. I'm not really allowed to create a gunpowder farm on this server because Jimmy is the one in charge of gunpowder. So I'm really just doing this under my own steam and having a relaxed time about it. I'm going to switch to my Silk Touch pick, or to my Fortune pick from my Silk Touch. Because it's not like there's a whole lot going on here anyway. What's the priority for Netherite upgrading? Tools first, armor later, because, you know, we're not really a PvP server, so I don't need to worry too much about having decent armor, but tools will just last longer, and that's kind of the point, really. But yeah, it's pickaxe first, then hoe for the achievement, and because hoes are actually really useful now, and then probably axe, shovel, and then sword. But I have 2 pickaxes as well, so both of those ideally need to be netherite. There we go, got there eventually. Netherite hoe is the first thing I always make. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, serious dedication. Nat, thank you so much for introducing yourself. Welcome in. Appreciate you including the pronouns as well. I'm not sure I have it enabled on this, but I have been using an extension on whenever I'm normally like browsing Twitch. I have an extension which shows people's pronouns. I think it's the Alejo extension, and I really recommend that for anybody who hangs out in Twitch chats frequently because a lot of people use it, and it's a really good way of knowing people's pronouns without having to worry about remembering all of them, you know? It just, like, makes it appear in front of your name like a sub-badge, which is very, very handy. I need to figure out how to enable that for my integrated chat in my streaming software, because then I can see when people use that. got that on the computer, but you're currently on your phone. Yeah, I know, it's not going to work everywhere, but it is very, very handy to have. Let me see if I can find it for you, actually, just in case anyone's... Yeah, here you go. I'll link to it in chat. If anyone's interested in installing that, it's just a quick browser extension thing for your Twitch chat, and, you know, if you're not keen on browser extensions, that's totally fine, but it's a very, very useful thing for seeing when people have signed up for the service and know that, like, people have specific pronouns they want to use. Am I pro-LGBTQ? Yes, my partner is non-binary, so I'm pretty much in favor, you'd have to say, but generally, yes, of course. Do I make a pronoun extension command? Maybe once I've got it set up on my end, Liara, so I'd hold off on that just in case, because I don't want to have a command that links to it and then be like, oh, sorry, I can't see them now that you've set that up, you know what I mean? But yeah, I'll try and get that taken care of today, because it's been too long. If you have an LGBTQ partner, does that make you LGBTQ? I mean, kind of, yeah. I consider myself, I guess, like, yeah, queer by association in a weird way. Like, I'm in a queer relationship. That's more or less it. But, like, it's not the kind of thing that I necessarily feel... Like, I would feel comfortable identifying with it if there was a label that necessarily made sense for me to use. But I think just ally is as far as it needs to go. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to claim it at the expense of somebody else who really needs... their own kind of representation to be at the forefront. Like, I'm already a cis white guy, like, I don't need more representation. So I don't need to worry too much about, like, what I'm labeling or what I'm calling myself or anything. Like, I'm just here. Is what it is. Just vibing. Yeah, exactly. Just vibing. Remember when labels were record companies? Oh, yeah. Or they're just attached to products at the supermarket. And yeah, I have absolutely no issue with anybody identifying whatever way they want to identify personally. It's just, you know, I don't necessarily disagree with the concept of using labels for that kind of stuff if it helps you find other people, if it helps you express yourself. 10 out of 10, A+, 100 emoji. But, yeah, I just don't need it myself, I guess. How did 118 World Generation change Ancient Debris Generation? It didn't. The Overworld is the only thing that changed. The Nether is still the same. I didn't pass some debris, I got the debris. And if I passed it on the way down here, then I'll get it on the way back. But right now I'm just making a tunnel. Sometimes out of the corner of your eye, quartz or soul sand or something like that can look like debris, but I got pretty well attuned to seeing when there was some, and if I miss it on the way down, then I'm pretty sure I'll get it on the way back. The Nether hasn't changed since 1.16. As far as I'm aware, yes. I don't think they made any changes to it in 1.17. I guess the only thing that's changed about the Nether since 1.16 is in 1.16.1 they added piglin brutes. Or was it 1.16.2? Because 16.1 is the one that they use on speedruns. Occasional bits of gold, which I might as well grab. What level is the netherite on? I'm mining at Y15. That's typically where the most netherite generates on average. But realistically, you get 2 veins of netherite under Y32 in every chunk. And it takes a while to find it all if you're looking for it holistically. Stevie, thanks so much for the 500 bits. Welcome in. Brutes weren't a thing to start with? No, they weren't in the initial Nether update. I think they added them because people were having a too easy of a time raiding piglin bastions. How many have I collected so far? On this server, I have items times mined. A lot of stone there. It's going to be down here in the 10s. 14. 14 total. On this stream, I've gathered so far like 10 of that. But yeah, this isn't on Survival Guide. I'm not doing a netherite beacon. I'm just gathering ancient debris for a few bits and pieces. Well, potentially some of my own netherite equipment, but also things like lodestones, both for building with and for providing useful markers through lodestone compasses. Brutes were originally planned, they just couldn't get them out in the initial release. I mean, yeah, I mean, either way you slice it, they got added in a later version. Still makes me laugh thinking about how new players might watch the old Bastion video, have no idea about Brutes. Yeah, it's unfortunate that. Warden Yake, thank you so much for the Prime sub. Assume that's meant to be pronounced like the Japanese. Correct me if I'm wrong. Thank you so much for that brand new Prime sub. Welcome to the Pixels. Yeah, I'm not going to set up a command for whether or not I like bed mining because, to be honest, I'm not planning on doing this for multiple streams, so setting up a command for something that's just on this one stream seems a little superfluous, but... Swift Sneak also makes this really convenient because it's not like you're that much slower than you are when you're just walking. And you can sneak pretty quickly at, like, sprint sneak pace. Are piglin brutes always aggressive? Yes. They aren't distracted by gold the way other piglins are. Well, they're always aggressive. Attacking them aggroes the other piglins around you, so they are definitely one of the complicating factors of Bastion Remnants. Lady Hesper, thank you for the Prime subs as well. We got so many new Prime subs on the channel today. Very kind of you all. Very happy to welcome you all into the community here. Soul Sand always fools me vis-a-vis ancient debris mining. Yeah. Yeah, it's just like probably the closest block color-wise. And even stuff like quartz, because of the little highlights in it and stuff, you can kind of be fooled if it's in the corner of your eye, sort of thing. Did I see Catherine eat an enchanted apple? I didn't. Did she do that in a video? I haven't caught up with everybody's videos lately. I'm behind on a few of them. Went to an ancient city with whip and sausage. Oh, is that... To be fair, though, you can get enchanted apples in those, loot chests in ancient cities like way more commonly than you get them in other places. So I think it's actually pretty acceptable. And eventually you're going to want it for the balanced diet advancement anyway, so I was hoping for a cheeky 3 vein. That's also, potentially, because that's on a chunk border, 2 separate veins of netherite. Or of ancient debris, rather. Just going to block this one off. They'll never know it was there. But yeah, 2 veins of 1 in that case. I have a feeling that might have just been the same vein, though. She was hungry, that's what matters? Yeah. Hey, I ain't knocking it. I feel like it is entirely within Catherine's character to eat a notch apple on a whim. Sorry, a Hatsune Miku apple. No. The decreased enchant glow makes it look like a regular golden apple. Yeah, that's why I've been extra cautious when I've looked at it, to look at the item name color. Because obviously if it's like a rarer item, it turns up as like a... the golden apple is blue, the enchanted golden apple is purple, right? That's the way it works. 8 debris. I think we'll take that home. You don't get the Hatsune Miku apple joke? There is a running joke that because Notch is basically like an awful bigot, people don't want to credit him with having created Minecraft, and so there's just this online joke that's developed about Hatsune Miku being the original developer of Minecraft because she's an artificially created character and so cannot technically commit any wrongs, I guess. Stuff like that is not necessarily the best way of dealing with a problem because it kind of feels like erasure of confronting the problems inherent in anything capitalist, but, you know, whatever. It's a funny joke. That's really as far as my interaction with it goes. Is it true they took his name out of the credits of the game? No, I mean, he's still credited. But I think that's, like, the only reference to him that still exists now. Like, much as the guy is an idiot, in my opinion, I do think that removing his credit from a game he created is going a little bit too far, just because of him having espoused some not very nice views. Like, it's weird, obviously, and I don't really know how I would react if I was put in a position like that, but he still created the game, you know what I mean? Like, it feels almost worse. And this is why I brought the buttons. Again, like, you can still interact with the game while acknowledging it has a problematic creator and a problematic history. They took his name off the splash screen and stuff. Yeah, that's that kind of stuff, right? No, Gamer Carlin, we're not ending the stream soon. And typically I don't take suggestions for who to raid, because I've usually got a decent handle on who I want to raid myself, but thank you anyway. Typically, I stream for 3 hours. We've only been live for 1 hour and 45, so I'm going to be here for a little while longer. Yeah, I'm not done in the Nether. I'm just like switching activities a little bit because now we have. How much was that? Where did I just put that? What did I do with my? Seriously, where did that go? What have I done with it? Oh, I started smelting it, of course. Of course I did. Because here's the thing, right? I don't know if I want to smelt all of this, because I do want to keep some ancient debris for like people to just find. But I do want a couple of netherite ingots. So let's make those. And then let's put those in here. I guess, sure. And then let's never speak of them again. Because I haven't upgraded anything to netherite on camera yet, so I'm probably going to do that like for a video rather than here on stream. And then let's probably... Oh, excuse me. Let's go and trade with some villagers to get my pickaxe durability back up. So we'll head over to the village that I normally go to and farm some trees. Hey Percy, welcome in. Time to trade stick. Pride Pooch, thank you so much for the 9 months. Prime Pooch. See you later, Danny. Have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your day. Not worth setting up automatic storage in the server? Oh, it is. I just haven't yet. Like, sometimes that's something I do nice and early. Sometimes I just amass more blocks than I know what to do with before I have the resources or before I figured out the space that I want to start building automated storage. So I don't get to that until later. But I think it's probably going to be the next part of my forthcoming episode because, yeah, I would love to have some actual automation. And it's also an excuse to go and buy iron from False Symmetry if she's around. Any plans to set up a community XP farm like an Ender? Maybe. I think Fwip was talking about doing one at some stage, but I'll have to talk to him about that because that's something I will definitely collab on if I can. I'd be happy to contribute to. What are my thoughts on Microsoft banning people from chats? I think if people have done something that is bad enough to deserve a ban under their current regulations, then it makes a great deal of sense to me. But I think there's also a lot of misinformation circulating about the ban thing, and people are exaggerating and saying, oh, you can get banned for swearing, and then people don't realize that's an exaggeration and they believe it. And that's where the problem lies right now, is in people not understanding that the stuff they are banning people for is much stronger than that. Minecraft bleeps out basic words for swearing in Bedrock Edition. They don't do it in Java, and they probably never will. I say probably because I don't want to have this clip age poorly or something, but on Bedrock Edition they are kind of required to do that to maintain the rating they're given for the game by the console games ratings boards. And, like, that's a requirement for console distribution, which is just not present on Java Edition at all and probably never will be.
Well, that's just prime.
Don't support permanent bans. We pay $30 for the game, though. So here's the thing. Like, if you go into a coffee shop and you pay for a coffee and then you insult the staff and you cause a riot and you start fighting the other people in there, they're not going to let you back in just because you paid for a coffee. Does that make sense? Like, regardless of whether or not you paid for something, they are within their rights to ban you. You signed an agreement when you bought the game that said that. And let's be real, the chat reporting feature is not the first, nor is it the last time that people can have been banned from having a Minecraft account. Like, people could have been banned long before this. Accounts have been banned before. Usually when the accounts are bought and sold by people, because a lot of the time those accounts could be stolen, and it makes sense for them to ban them so that they can be put back in the hands of the original owner. So accounts have been banned from Minecraft before. This is not an unusual thing for any online service. And basically any online service, whether free or otherwise, has reporting tools, typically. The fact that Minecraft didn't is because it's an 11-year-old game. I'm going to sleep in this man's bed. 64-bit Link says, I guess I still have concerns based on claims that there still exist exploits where people can be reported for messages they didn't actually send. Absolutely. And people should still be concerned about that. That is not a reason for the feature not to exist. It's a reason for the feature to exist and be refined. And for systems like the appeal system that they have in place right now. Like, you can appeal a ban if you feel like it was made wrongfully. And you'll be able to provide evidence that you didn't say what you said, I guess. But that is something that hopefully they will continue to be able to bug fix as it goes. But the fact is, they can't find all of the potential workarounds for that before the system is released, because people are going to reverse engineer a way around it from whatever Mojang ends up releasing, right? So it's going to be a constant battle for them in future. But that is not a reason to not release the feature now. Yeah, and they've been addressing that in the pre-releases, and they will just have to continue to address it because people are always going to find ways around it. One of my overall thoughts on 1.19, I love it. I think it's a great update. I think it's added a lot of really cool stuff. The Deep Dark is phenomenal. Even outside of the Ancient City experience, there's so much depth to it. And it adds a lot to the mining experience. It creates danger in places that there wasn't danger before. But once you feel like you understand the mechanics, you have enough control over it that it's as much a risk as caving anywhere else is. But I just like the variety it adds to the underground. Like, we needed another underground biome. Even though Lush Caves and Dripstone Caves are amazing, and the whole overhaul of cave systems was great, I think the Deep Dark adds some much-needed variety to it. Adds some really interesting mystery to the game. That kind of stuff. Hey, we've got some folks coming in from a raid. Welcome on in, folks. I do need to look into Twitch's systems which allowed me to lower the threshold on what shows up as a raid from my stream software notifications and stuff, because yeah, sometimes if a raid comes in with just a couple of people, it doesn't show up, and I don't think that's something I want going forward. So Celestial, thank you so much for bringing your folks over. Welcome in. Hope you're all having a good one. Thank you to the folks in the chat welcoming on the Raiders in. We were looking for Ancient Debris in the Nether. I've got a decent amount of it now. Managed to get maybe like 10 or 12 or so here on the stream, so we are chilling and repairing my tools right now. This stream's going to be a fairly chill one anyway. You were just doing that too? Nice! Great minds think alike. I also need to get a bunch of glass from the librarians over here, so it's a good thing that I'm over here farming emeralds effectively. I do have a raid notification alert. It just doesn't come through for smaller raids for some reason. I think if you raid with like fewer than 5 people, sometimes it doesn't always show up. Because I guess people have been using bots to raid channels with like 1 person, and it's another way of like spamming somebody's notifications. So they automatically put up stuff to avoid that. Love to see them add the bioluminescent biome they consider for the Deep Dark during development. There's a couple of things that obviously have worked out as concepts that didn't make it to the game that would be kind of cool. But there's always room for stuff like that to be redeveloped in future, you know? And I think, like, while it would look kind of cool, bioluminescence in an underground biome is the kind of thing that, I don't know, seems kind of predictable in a way, so I can sort of see why they wanted to veer away from that as an art style and design choice. Like, Terraria, for example, has, like, glowing mushroom biomes, so while that's not a reason for Minecraft not to have them, it's still kind of like, well, we've seen this in other games, you know, it's been implemented somewhere else before. It doesn't feel unique to Minecraft the way I think the Deep Dark does. People raid with bots. Why? Just to harass people. Like it's you know, internet stuff. Like, people on Twitch get trolled pretty regularly, especially if they are, you know, LGBTQ or black or, you know, there's a lot of different, none of them good reasons why people just decide to, like, follow bot somebody or raid bot somebody. Would I be okay with a quality of life update for 1.20? I would. I don't want it to be that, but I would be okay with it, if that makes sense. Because I do think quality of life updates come with basically every content update as well. I think people have different ideas about what a quality of life update is. And while I think as a creator, there's tons of stuff in 118 and 119 that I haven't had time to explore yet that I think would be fine for keeping content going, I do think for the average casual player, they're not going to care as much about quality of life updates, you know? It's like, it's fine if stuff like that gets introduced as part of another update, but I don't see that being a theme that people would get super enthusiastic about when it arrived in 120. I've seen a lot of people recently advocating for just an expansion to inventory, and I'm like, that's not an update, though. Like, if there are other interesting ways that you can resolve inventory problems like the bundle did, then great. But the bundle isn't even fully implemented in Java, much less Bedrock. Cold Mav, thank you for the 6 months. GM Craft, thank you for the 5. Kagan Watson with the 5 months. Rockin' to you, Robin, thank you for the 18. Mojang made 115 as a quality of life update, and the community crapped on that. Well, the community was also, for whatever reason, mainly perpetuated by a couple of enthusiastic YouTubers, convinced that a cave update was supposed to be happening, which obviously did eventually, and then it was so big that they had to split it in two, and people complained about that as well. But yeah, everyone was like, oh, they're going to announce a cave update, and then they were like, well, we need to do a lot to the game. here is one of the most complex mobs that we've ever added. Here is bees, which provides, like, an extra way to pollinate crops. You know, an item that can be turned into a building block, and the item is going to be super useful later on when we implement copper, but we don't know about that yet. Here is a technical block that's basically the equivalent of a slime block and has a bunch of other uses besides. And people were like, just bees, though? Also, we've completely rewritten the lighting engine and implemented a bunch of other back-end changes that are going to carry this game forward into the modern era. But all we did was add bees, right? Like, come on now. How does bees pollinating crops work? So when they've gathered pollen from a flower and they're returning to a beehive, if they fly over some crops, it has a chance to basically act like you've bone mealed the crop. So it increases the growth stage of crops that they fly over. They kind of like dust them with pollen. I was going to say bees are awesome, then there's the glow squid. The glow squid's awesome too. The glow squid is basically an accessibility feature. It adds visibility to sign text, especially on signs like the dark oak signs, where you just couldn't read text on them at all. Even if you changed the color of the text, it was still virtually unreadable. Is it worth playing on Switch, console, or Mac version? What do people prefer if they don't own another console or PC? Mac is going to depend a lot on your performance, because if you don't have a particularly high-spec Mac, then Java Minecraft probably isn't going to run super well. But then I've heard not so great things about performance on the Switch version as well, so I don't know. Glow Squid was the only good choice in the mob vote. I think the Isolager would have been okay. It would have added more interest to mountains, which right now, aside from occasional resource gathering, I don't tend to go to all that much. They look cool, but I do think the Isolager would have been an interesting thing. I don't know how it would have worked compared to how it works in Minecraft Dungeons, though, so I was unsure about it. But honestly, I'm happy with the glow squid we got. I feel like people still hate the glow squid on principle rather than considering what it actually adds to the game. And yeah, they could have come up with something cool for the Moo Bloom to do as well. I love the glow squid. I just feel bad they're always beaching themselves. See, I don't tend to see glow squids beach themselves all that often because they generate too far down. They generate, like, in caves for me. So they're always swimming around in flooded areas. The regular squid are obviously, yeah, weird when it comes to that behavior, but they ever revisit mobs that don't make it in after the votes? As far as mobs go, I don't believe they have, but they have done that with biomes now, because the swamp adding mangrove trees and stuff was part of the swamp vote that I believe... What was it that won that vote? Was it the tiger biome vote that swamps were in, or was it the mountain biome vote? Because swamps were basically the second most popular runner-up, basically. And so that's why they introduced them for 119. Except instead of overhauling the actual swamp biome, they decided to generate a whole new biome because it was going to work better for the way mangroves look. Which makes perfect sense to me. I think mangroves are great. Is it possible to farm glow squids and glow squid ink? Yes, absolutely. For a start, axolotls kill them. So if you just get a tank that's relatively isolated from other water sources, glow squid will spawn in there and axolotls can kill them very easily. But outside of that, yeah, there are other farm designs and stuff. Just gonna leave this here for a minute so I can put some of this away. And get my sticks. Because people usually ask, I think a couple of people asked in the chat earlier, hitting spacebar is a quick refresh for villager trading. Again, on Java, I don't know if that shortcut exists on Bedrock, I don't think it does. Yeah, I do. I also wish they'd add the spacebar stuff for crafting. Imagine crafting dispensers that way. I have a couple of quick ways to craft dispensers, but they're nowhere near as fast as this. But the thing is, if they added parity to the recipe book between Java and Bedrock, then we could one-click craft dispensers, because you can do that stuff on Bedrock. The problem is on Bedrock, that leads to you making like 16 shovels that you don't want, because you shift-click by mistake. Do I think Mojang might implement mobs that were not chosen in the voting? Yes. Absolutely. They definitely keep those ideas. Like the, even for the 2017 mob vote, where they said the remaining mob ideas are going to be discarded, they added the functionality for mob C to the grindstone, so it wasn't a mob, but it was what they said the mob was going to do, was basically what the grindstone does now. They added the wildfire, which was the multi-shielded blaze thing, as a mini-boss in Minecraft Dungeons. And there was talk of it being added to vanilla Minecraft at some stage, potentially off the back of that. Yeah, who knows? They could do it. And I don't think anyone would complain if they did. Oh. Jimmy turns up and it starts raining. Coincidence? Jimmy is here streaming to criminals. Think people would find a reason to complain? Of course they would.
Well, that's just prime.
Matsboy UK, thank you for the 19 months of Prime. Have I ever considered speedrunning Minecraft before? A lot of people have asked me to do it, and honestly, I'm not certain I'd be all that good at it. I get distracted by cool stuff in this game too easily. And the thing that motivates people to speedrun Minecraft a lot of the time is that kind of constant improvement of their personal best, and then like the competition element of it, of like how high you can get on the leaderboard or whatever. And personally, I'm not that level of competitive. It seems like a fun activity to do on stream when you don't have anything else to do, but I pretty much always have something better I could be doing. Like, I can't speedrun in any of the existing worlds where I already have projects going on, and so I feel like time I spend speedrunning is time I could be spending gathering resources for this series, or for Survival Guide, or for, you know, doing time lapses for builds, that kind of stuff. And yeah, that was Minecraft Bingo for me. That was kind of biding my time until 1.18 came out, basically. Don't like doing speedruns, better at being a builder? Yeah. Yeah, same. Like, I can't speedrun this game, there's redstone to be doing. Which of these has mending? It's just the axe. Let me grab a bit more XP from these lads. Oh. I play bingo and I get distracted all the time, yeah. It's been a while since we played Minecraft Bingo, though. That was fun. And check the playlist. Yeah. Mythical Sausage, Solidarity Gaming. Catherine just left. Joey might be having connection issues. I see him logging on and off a lot. Maybe he's just, like, fixing shaders or something. I don't know. Have excellent memories of those bingo streams. Still think I forget what my PB was, but I think it was something like 21 minutes. That was very fun. The random drop bingo was hilarious. Nine says done update to the bingo map. Yeah, cool. I expected it to be something that would be in constant revision. How can you play the Minecraft bingo? I think we still have a command for it, although it's probably the old link now. But yeah, Minecraft bingo is a world that you can download from 9's GitHub page. Yeah, the command says, today I'm doing this, because that's the one we set up when I was playing Minecraft bingo regularly, but... There is obviously other ways of playing bingo. That one's just like an item collection thing. I know for some Minecraft bingo setups, it's like achievements or like different collecting challenges and stuff. Like, I think I've seen Jimmy and a few others playing a version where you have to gather a bunch of, like, it's get 64 of whatever type of die or something like that, whereas 9's version you only have to get one, and it's not a particularly long challenge unless you're taking it kind of steady. Yeah, Slice Line played the same bingo map. And Jimmy's on and off as well. What's going on there? There also used to be Minecraft bingo and MCC. Yeah. I can see that being why people were into it for a bit. Oh, there's Joey. What's my PB at the moment? I haven't played Minecraft bingo in ages, but it was 21 something. Other than false, have I met any of the other people from Empire's IRL? No, I don't think I have. Wish there was a way to play randomized loot drops in Bedrock. There might be an add-on or something for it. Would not be surprised if somebody's done that with, like, messing with the loot tables. Jimmy's having AFK farm problems, really? I had thought of doing a mini-series with the April Fool's snapshots like I did with the One Block at a Time series. Trying to think what the other ones were. Most of them didn't change all that much. I feel like the Infinity snapshot was the main one, and I think Wattles probably did the best Infinity snapshot series, which is why I didn't really want to... Didn't want to try doing something similar, because I feel like it's already sort of been done, you know? I could buy some more redstone from this guy, but I don't need huge amounts of redstone right now. Just need my librarians to go to work so I can buy more glass. Yeah, Love and Hugs update wasn't all that interesting, from what I recall. It was really just like the Wither is a little bit wacky looking, and it kind of had the same mob stacking mechanic that One Block at a Time did. Don't need huge amounts of redstone, blaspheme. I mean, I will need huge amounts of redstone eventually, so I'll be kicking myself later when it turns out I could have been farming it this whole time. Would love for dogs to be updated or just given a new function. Yeah, no, I think the problem with dogs compared to cats, right? And I've mentioned this on stream before, so apologies if I'm being a broken record here, but the thing about dogs is that over time, humans have bred dogs to be all different shapes and sizes. Domesticated dogs, specifically. Whereas pretty much all house cats are, like, roughly the same size. Like, they don't tend to get outside of a range, whereas, like, if you really wanted to update dogs, for a start, there would be tons of people who missed out on having their favorite breed in the game because there are so many different dog breeds. Even now we have, like, 11 different types of cat. I feel like that covers cats. I feel like if you put 11 different types of dog in the game, then there's still going to be tons of missing area. But also consider, like, the size of something like an Old English Sheepdog or a St. Bernard or a Newfoundland, and compare that to, like, putting Chihuahuas in the game. You know what I mean? Like, a Newfoundland could be, like, the size of a small horse. And then a Chihuahua would be, like, the size of a bee, you know? What about doing dogs like doing tropical fish? That's the thing. You'd end up with the same model of dog, and that's not fundamentally what all of those dogs would look like. Like, the tamed wolves in Minecraft have a very specific, like, shape and snout and everything. You couldn't just color it in different and have it be a different type of thing, you know? Fish are small and inconsequential enough that it's not really going to matter all that much, but I feel like adding that kind of dog system to Minecraft would be kind of, I don't know, laborious and like cats all effectively behave the same and look the same, which makes them an easy target for stuff like that in Minecraft, whereas, like, there are so many different utilities for dogs in the real world that, like, it's going to be weird if your hunting dog is going to not act like a hunting dog or something. I don't know. If I ever thought of doing a modded series, like, let's say, Galacticraft, I have done several modded series on my YouTube channel, and the fact that people don't really know I've done them is probably why I don't do more of them, if that makes sense. I've done a few different series before. I did time-lapses from Sky Factory 3, which were streams that I then recorded using replay mod and turned into time-lapses, just to show the progress being made in a Sky Factory world. I've done some stuff with the Forever Stranded mod pack with a group called the Cobblenauts, where we had Forever Stranded Lost Souls a little bit before release. And so that was kind of fun. I've done bits and pieces of other stuff. I've played some custom mod packs before, but modded Minecraft was never really my jam because I like a lot of the stuff that's in vanilla Minecraft better, and I think a lot of people already know modded quite well, and so they're the ones making showcase videos on mods and playing whatever mod pack comes up, whereas I find modded quite esoteric. If you don't know what you're doing with some of the mods, then it doesn't feel like you're getting the most out of it, you know? Just some different coloration you think would be enough to add some spice? You'd think that, but I feel like with dogs, people get kind of more particular about it, and that may be very different for very different dog owners, so, you know, I don't want to generalize, but I get the sense that it wouldn't be enough for most folks. It'd feel like a half-assed way of implementing it, you know? And I don't necessarily think people want that. I feel like people want more effort going into something like that if it's going to be a significant change, because otherwise you may as well just use a texture pack. Like, but the amount of work Mythical Sausage has gone through to have his own dog in the game, you know? The same could be said of cats. They don't act like the broad range of cats IRL. Yeah, but then cat owners don't really care about that. And there's only so much stuff that you could do. Like, you can't have cats in Minecraft knock stuff off shelves, which is what my cats did. I'm going to very quickly go over and check something, just in case anyone has visited the Great Bridge. I think it's still just Sausage who's built something up here right now. But I am curious to see if anybody's... bring back some regular stone. Nope, nobody's used that yet. Not to worry. I didn't expect this to be a super popular thing, but I did just want people to know it was there, and I wanted to rebuild this, basically. Hey, Kimmy, welcome in. Thanks for stopping by. Glad you're enjoying the videos. Actually, let's do that with andesite. Let's just have like a little patch of andesite there so I know which blocks to break in future, and it doesn't break into cobblestone if I do it with the wrong pickaxe. How did jelly get added anyways? There was a competition that they launched to have people from the community submit their own cats. And Good Times with Scar was one of the people who said, oh, hey, this is my cat Jelly. It would be great if she was added to Minecraft. And then I think it was put to a vote, and they decided to put Jelly in the game. Cats not as varied as dogs because cat breeds are not very common. Most domestic cats are all fundamentally the same. Yes, yeah, absolutely. That's my argument for why implementing dogs in Minecraft would have to be a much more thought-through system than just let's whack a few different colors on the existing dog model, you know? It's very accurate. The cats always want to sit on the chests so you can't use them. Yeah, it would only be more accurate if you could just give them a cardboard box and then they play with it for hours. Currently playing your hardcore world in 1.16. Don't know if I should update to the new version. Thoughts? Do whatever you want. Like, I can't make that decision for you. There's a lot of cool stuff in 1.18 onwards. Like, I think there's a lot of really, really fun stuff in this game in more recent updates, but like, it's your hardcore world. Back it up. Do whatever you want. I can't make that decision for you. Am I on team dogs or team cats? I'm not on any particular team. I have owned cats before and I really like cats. I would probably own cats before I would own dogs, but I like both types of animal. Right, so what can we do? I think, honestly, even though it's not Chopping Tuesday, I might still just farm some wood because I will need it if I'm going to be making a bigger storage system. So we're going to farm some jungle wood and I'm going to make some chests. Also, I need to find where I've put my bundle, like the actual bundle that I use. Because I must have put it down at some point. Was it in here or in one of these? Yes, there it is. Oh, thank goodness. I thought I'd lost you. There it is. Pride of place. With 3 ender chests in it now. We could do some fishing as well. I need to get a better fishing rod still. Again, end of the stream. We can chop some wood. We can fish. These are the options. They need to add otters. Otters would be fun. I feel like they would kind of work very similarly to axolotls, though, in a way. They're just kind of like waterborne predators. I feel like if they added otters, they'd have to add sea urchins as well. Thought bundles weren't in the game yet. They've been in Java Edition code since 1.17. They're not like a fully implemented feature in default Minecraft, but you can add them in using recipes using a data pack, which we did for this server because bundles are great. And the only reason they're not in vanilla Minecraft is because they couldn't figure out how to make them work with the mobile control scheme on Bedrock Edition. Pop quiz, how many bundles can you put in a bundle? I think it's 16, isn't it? It's something like that. Or maybe it's 8. It's one of those numbers. I think we need some sort of hostile mob in the oceans like sharks, and they make it so you can befriend dolphins and they protect you from sharks. There was the opportunity for them to add the, I think it was called the barnacle, the working name for it. was one of the mobs from the 2017 mob vote that I think went out of the voting process first. Which was funny because then they announced an update to the oceans. Sharks are much friendlier than dolphins IRL. Yeah, and sharks, a lot of sharks are also endangered, and they've been, like, overfished in some oceans because they're misunderstood, and some of them are endangered because of decreases in ocean life around coral reefs, and, like, there's a lot of reasons that I think they're avoiding putting sharks in the game, because they don't just want sharks to be, like, the stereotypical hostile water creature. Am I misremembering, or did Mojang say at some point that all the mobs that weren't voted in? So for the 2017 vote, they specifically said, we don't plan on adding any of these in future. This is your only chance to vote for these. Since then, because there was a bit of a backlash against that decision, they have said all of these ideas will be put back into our ideas bank, or whatever they call it, and have a chance to appear in the game in future if an update makes sense to include them. But yeah, as far as the 2017 mob vote goes, they were a bit more black and white about it. Make them neutral like spiders? Yeah, but then I think what people want from sharks is a hostile experience. I mean, like, dolphins are neutral. Dolphins will still attack you if you attack them. I think there have to be enough dolphins around, but they still do that, so then a shark just becomes like a dolphin, except without the treasure hunting functionality. Making some sort of baby shark? And again, there are so many different varieties of shark as well. Like, great white is the really obvious one, but there are some very cool-looking sharks. Like, throw a leopard shark in there. I get this question all the time when I chop the 2x2 trees. I'm not left-handed. And I don't know if there's, like, a video that said, like, oh, you can tell somebody's left-handed if they chop a tree this way, or if people just independently come to this question on their own, but it's very interesting to me that everybody asks me the same question when I chop trees. What about a land shark? Or a lone shark? As like an evil version of the Wandering Trader. He'll lend you emeralds, but then he comes back and demands a full stack when he only gave you 16 before. Not left-handed, just British, so going around the roundabout clockwise. There you go. That's the excuse I'll give. I'm British, I chop trees on the left. Now, my tools are enchanted, we just have a resource pack that tones down the enchantment glow a lot. He comes back with an iron golem. Yeah, this is the enforcer. This is the repo guy. Cut the trees the same way because it's more comfortable to repeatedly move my mouse away from my keyboard as opposed to towards it. I just don't really think about it. Like, sometimes I'll do the other way. But yeah, I don't really think about it. I don't think about the physicality of it at all. I just do it. It just feels natural. I was going to say a lone shark would be a neutral illager and killing them results in bad omen. That'd be pretty funny, but then again, yeah, it's just like reusing functionality from pillager captains, I guess. Here's something I really want to use at some stage. I'm going to mention it now because people might forget in future. Did you guys know, according to the Minecraft wiki, and I have mentioned this on stream before, according to the Minecraft wiki, if you name tag a Vindicator Johnny, the way that, like, you know, if you do that, it, like, goes and attacks every mob, right? Except for, like, I think illagers and a couple of exceptions. Like, they won't go after ghasts. But if you then have a Johnny name-tagged Vindicator join a pillager patrol, like a naturally spawned patrol, then the rest of the patrol takes on the same behavior. And so if there's a Johnny Vindicator who's part of a pillager patrol, the pillagers all attack everything as well. I need to use that for something, and I don't know what. And the problem is, eventually, like, pillager crossbows break, right? So if you were going to use that in a farm, let's say, you'd have to make sure that whatever you were farming did not then attack the pillagers. But also, the pillagers would probably end up shooting themselves a lot, so they'd have to be in fixed locations, and then you'd have to make sure that you could give them fresh crossbows. And I don't know if pillagers will pick up crossbows after their own crossbows break. So I need to do some experimentation. It's also quite difficult to spontaneously capture a pillager patrol and then not have them despawn. But I don't think it works with raid mobs, because, like, I think it has to be part of a patrol. But it says so on the Minecraft wiki, so I need to do some testing. Might work in a slime farm. A slime farm would be a good way to test that, yeah. There's your army right there. Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. But again, that would be so much work to set that up for an army that would effectively just break their weapons after 200 or so shots. I do have a bunch of name tags. That's the thing. But then I don't know where I would put them. I want to put them in a place where people aren't just going to be like, oh, pillagers, let me attack them, you know? And it's not gonna work in pillager outposts either, because patrols are a very specific spawn, and it doesn't work the same way. They don't behave the same way. So, like, they basically spawn with a tag that says they are part of a patrol. Is a bundle basically the same as a shulker box? No, very, very different setup. Basically, bundles are for organization, not storage. So you can only store up to a stack of items, but every item can be different. So basically, bundles are there to get rid of, like, say I've got 3 cobblestone, I've got 8 logs right now. They're both taking up 2 inventory spaces that could be full of, like, a stack of other items. And so, let's say, yeah, I've been out mining, I've gotten a bunch of different resources, but there's a whole stack of stone on the ground that I don't really have room for, because I'd have to throw out some of the cobblestone, or I'd have to throw out the jungle logs. Instead, what I can do is I can use the bundle to just stash those away, and right now I can also fit in these jungle saplings, and this stack of bone meal, and, like, some of the coal, not quite all of it, but some of it. And then it all gets stored in there, and then you can take it out in the same order it was put in, or, like, you know, last in, first out kind of thing. But the fun thing is you can also, let's say let's put a couple of things back in here to bury some of those jungle logs. If you take 1 jungle log and do that, then suddenly you've got all 9 of the jungle logs that were in there. So there's a couple of neat tricks to using them, but really they're just there for organization, so that you can carry around a lot of the smaller stuff. You could put, like, all the crafting stations in there, and then have 1 of every workstation going into a village without it having to take up half of your inventory. Obviously, you could do that with a shulker box as well, and they're stackable in a shulker box, but really the way I think they should be used is you put one in basically every shulker box, and then any items that you're like, oh, this is only like 1 or 2 andesite compared to, again, I could stick 2 more full stacks of stone in there from a branch mine. Let me just bundle up the andesite and the diorite and then leave that in the corner so that the rest of this can be taken up by full stacks of other material. But the problem with bundles is that they don't have a way of, like, you don't have a way of hovering over them on mobile because it's a touchscreen interface, and so they don't really have a control scheme on mobile that works for bundles, so they never implemented them in Bedrock Edition, and because they want to have feature parity between Bedrock and Java, they haven't implemented them in default Java gameplay yet. So we have these because of a data pack. But I really like bundles. I think they're a very good implementation, and I think they solve a lot of problems with inventory. Like, I can carry all of this stuff around. I need the stone cutter for occasionally turning slabs and stairs, like turning stone into slabs and stairs when I'm building something big like the Great Bridge. And that saves me from creating an entire stack of those, and it also saves me from having like a couple of inventory slots taken up by the stone cutter and an ender chest and all of this other stuff when I can just tuck it all away in there, save it for later. Also, clocks work from inside bundles, so you can carry a clock and a compass around with you without them having to take up multiple inventory spaces. The only problem with bundles, and the thing that lots of people bounce off them, is that you can't put unstackable items in there. So you can't put 64 swords in a bundle because they obey normal stack sizes. You can't put a shulker box in a bundle, even though it's technically one item. It's holding up to 27 stacks of other items. How do you get items out of the bundle? There are a couple of different ways. You can either right-click on it to pull out the last item. You can pick it up so that you're carrying it, and you can right-click on empty inventory spaces to put that stuff in there. Or, if you're just running around, you don't have your inventory open, if you right-click while holding a bundle, you throw all the contents onto the floor. And then you can pick them all up, and they're just there in your inventory, and then you can restack them any way you want. Like that, for example. Does one ender pearl stack 4 times more space than a log? Yes. Yeah, so it obeys normal stack sizes. So, like, an ender pearl is worth 4 items, basically. Yeah, I made a video about bundles a while ago, which was provocatively titled, Why You're Wrong About Bundles, because a lot of people were wrong about bundles. But I do think they're a really great feature, and I'm really kind of heartbroken that they weren't used in vanilla, but I can see why, obviously, because of limitations with Bedrock, right? Can you have more than one bundle? Yes. Yeah, you can carry as many as you want. So you can have one that's just full of, like, miscellaneous food if you're at the start of the game and all you've got is, like, half a stack of steak and a couple of carrots and some potatoes, and you're trying to carry all of that stuff around so that you can take it back to your base and start farming it. You can bring the starter plants for basically every crop in the game just in one inventory space. But yes, we have them thanks to a data pack that you can download from Vanilla Tweaks, which they have a couple of different crafting recipes. The bundle in the original proposed vanilla crafting recipe was made with rabbit hide, because rabbit hide doesn't really have any uses other than you can sell it to leather workers or you can craft it directly into leather. But then because some people don't really like killing rabbits in this game, there's also a crafting recipe that uses leather as well. And we have the leather crafting recipe because none of us wanted to go out and farm rabbits. But yeah, they're great for moving stuff out of random chests. Because, like, let's take a look at the chests I have out here. From my, you know, incredibly organized starter base. If I grab this bundle, completely empty, I can just go like this. Alright, the eggs were a bit much. The eggs took up a lot of space there. But, like, all of that stuff is now condensed down into here, and it lets you know how much room you have left. So I can also take the crafting table, the lectern, the item frame, the rails, the composter. I've still got room for 2 more stackable items, and I've cleared out most of that chest just into 1 inventory space. Didn't want to do that necessarily, but I did it. Why not just add an interface on mobile where the item at the top of the stack is draggable? I don't know. Maybe they play tested it and it didn't feel good. I'm not sure. I'm not in charge of implementing these things, and I don't play mobile, so I don't know what would be good for it. There be any use for rotten flesh other than dog stuff? Trading with clerics, primarily. And you can eat it, technically speaking. It's not a good idea, but you can do it. It's like a moving box. I mean, shulker boxes are technically like a moving box because you can put anything in those. Bundles are more like having a box within your moving box that has all of the, like, screws and paper clips and stationery bits and pieces that you don't want to just spill out everywhere because they'll take up way more space than they actually need. Like, think of it like a desk tidy, and that's a closer... Or it's like having a cutlery drawer inside one of the kitchen drawers in your house so that all the cutlery doesn't just spill out everywhere. It can be more organized, and you can get it out of the way so that you can fit all of your nice knives and potato mashers and garlic presses and stuff in there. Winnie T. Ford, thank you so much for the 2 years. I'm assuming that everybody in this chat owns a garlic press, because you're all massive nerds, so... Yes, bundles can be put into shulker boxes. Shulker boxes cannot be put into bundles, but honestly, my favorite way of using bundles would be to have a bundle in every shulker box, just to tidy up some of the loose items that inevitably end up in shulker boxes. The vines up here is what's stopping this tree from growing, and it's a pain in the butt. We're going to do some fishing. Let's do some fishing and wrap up the stream, I think. I want to use that Luck of the Sea rod and try and get a better fishing rod. Let's put the eggs in here as well. There we go. We have Luck of the Sea 3 on this one, so here's hoping that by the time we break this one, we'll have a better fishing rod. Or at least one with mending that we can combine. Gonna fish off the Great Bridge. And probably get attacked by the Trident guys. I own a garlic press, but cleaning it's a pain. Yeah, no, they do seem like they're a pain to clean. That's what you get for messing with my fishing zen. What's a garlic press? What does it sound like? Have I thought about building an underwater structure in Empires? The problem with building anything underwater in Minecraft is that people don't end up seeing it. Because the natural occlusion of the water, the kind of fall off of light and everything, means that stuff underwater doesn't always look all that great. And a lot of the time the ocean isn't really deep enough to sustain larger structures unless you artificially deepen it, which is really difficult to do. It's very time consuming. As far as the storage build goes, how about catacombs? Yeah, probably. Like, if anyone's played Elden Ring, because this is going to be a helpful frame of reference for my entire series, the Fringe Folk Hero Graves, which is basically like one of the places that you spawn in, and there's a couple of others throughout the map of the Lands Between. Areas like that, I think, are going to be more or less what my storage area looks like. Good reason to have, like, double chests all over the walls and make them look like they're caskets or whatever, but they're actually, you know, storage chests. The problem is how to incorporate some automation into that, because I would like my system to have some redstone involved in it. So I might have to go to the creative world for that and just try and design something that's got the vibes but also has hoppers. That's a power 3 bow. Not quite what I want here. I was thinking you could have done like a broken glass dome over it. That's the thing. Everybody, whenever they go to build something underwater, is immediately like, okay, glass dome then. And I get, like, obviously, if it's like a ruined version, or if it's something like Rapture from BioShock, where it's this underwater complex that's just been destroyed by the ravages of time or mismanagement or whatever, then yeah, sure, like that sounds like a fun idea. But I feel like the underwater dome idea is just so overdone, and it's also really difficult to make glass domes look good in Minecraft because of the way glass is. The blocky nature of Minecraft makes it difficult to make anything look like a dome and still look like it has any kind of structural stability. Should make an underwater storage room so no one will see it and no one will steal from you. I don't think we tend to steal from each other's storage on this server much anyway. Like, that's not really the vibe on this server. We'll get there though. I've got some things in mind for a storage room. Someone is at the ruins? Really? Oh, Jimmy's looking for me? Okay. Give me 2 seconds here. Just because I'm always on speakers when I stream, and I don't want to like make things super echoey if he comes by. Alright, it's got mending on it. I think he gave up. I mean, he could ask in chat. There's a burrow. He thought I killed Sausage because of the grave. Is he hiding in the grave now? $18, really? Let's see how he answers this one. Just flying over. Highly sus. I'll leave that in there for now. Big Sheriff is watching. We're all in the pocket of Big Sheriff. Alright, well, no worries. I put the headphones on for nothing. But I think we're going to wrap things up there anyway. Since I now have mending on this fishing rod, I can potentially just fish forever. Oh, my phone's just died. It's another good reason to end the stream. Alright, well, we're ending this with headphones on because, I don't know, I felt like looking like a DJ from the 1970s. Let's see who we can raid. Oh, Bruno's live. Warden Farm Shop on Still Alive SMP. Let's go raid Bruno. I said that like farm shop, like it was, I don't know, like a farm shop. Like he was selling eggs and things. Bruno's a lovely streamer. Very, very talented dude. Very, very funny. And he has a lot of Sculpt Catalyst, which I presume he's going to sell before, if at all, he updates to 1.19.1. That's where we're going to wrap up this stream, folks. I should be live this Sunday. But on Saturday, I am going to be speaking at or kind of like co-hosting a discussion panel at an archaeology and gaming convention. It's going to be really, really interesting. Details of that on Twitter. I'll also post it in the stream title here on Twitch while I'm away. But folks, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Got a little bit of ancient debris now that we can do something with. And I reckon we'll wrap things up here. Have a good one. Enjoy your weekends. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye for now.